another episode of The Inside. Very excited today to have Mark LeMire join me. He's the CEO of Sargent and Greenleaf. Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Mark LeMire, CEO of Sargent and Greenleaf, and it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Absolutely. So excited as I've engaged with your team and have taken a look at the history of the organization and what you all are focused on and what you're doing. It's pretty exciting to be honest with you. I mean, the history, how long it's been, and the areas and that you focus on. One of the things that we do talk about a lot is the sort of product breadth and the ability to break into different markets and that. And so why don't we, before we jump into all of that, do you mind giving a little bit of history of yourself? People like to hear about where, how'd you get into the position that you're in? And then also some background on the company, and then we'll jump into some of the trends and some of the areas that you're focusing on.
Absolutely. So my background, I spent 12 years in design engineering or new product development. So mechanical engineer by training, spent a lot of time in the motion control industry working for Parker Hannifin, really through much of my engineering career, and then moved into product sales management, more of a commercial role, application engineering support role for various industries. I have supported automotive, off-road, food processing, oil and gas, military, a whole range of industries that I've been engaged and involved in. Then really sought an MBA in marketing with marketing concentration, expanded into a broader role or capacity as a business development manager, and then global director of marketing and product development for a division of ITW. Then entered into a general management role for another division of ITW in the food inspection equipment portion of the business and industry, serving much of the larger manufacturers, processors in the food industry. And that was my last role before joining Sargent and Greenleaf as the CEO, really leveraging the technical engineering background that I had, as well as the very diverse market and industry background as well.
Very nice. So engineer went to the dark side and the sales and business side and marketing and gotcha. So very great. That's the type of stories we like to hear because people sort of mapping careers and how the steps that they make to get through their route. So appreciate you sharing that. So could you tell us a little bit about Sargent and Greenleaf? The history behind it and what you all sort of look for, move as you move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sargent and Greenleaf has been around for a little over 160 years. It's a name that not everybody knows, but it's really been operating in the background throughout the long storied history in the US in particular. Sargent Greenleaf invented the time lock for banks and the financial institutes. So we've supported the banking institutions for over 160 years now. In our overall, whether it's deposit, safe deposit boxes, ATMs, cash in transit applications, really Sargent Greenleaf has been there almost every step of the way, protecting the individuals and the organizational cash as it passes through the system. We've also served the residential and commercial space in safe and vault applications as well. Expanding over the years. So like I said, Sargent Greenleaf really is somewhat operate a little bit in the background. It isn't necessarily a household name unless you have a residential gun safe. But it really has been in the high security lock business for the expanse of its years. We're very mindful and respectful of that history, certainly as we move forward. But at the same time, S&G today is very committed to investing towards advancing solutions to these respective markets, as well as any adjacent markets that may need a high value, high security lock.
Yeah, so could you talk to me a little bit about that? So understanding the banking side and the history, and then as you said, sort of consumer. So where do you see the business going? Because you're taking a more forward approach. I can tell from the branding and the marketing, and it looks like you're trying to get in front of, if you would, the back that you've been been running in and really pushing for a very long time. So before we talk into the strategy side of what made you all decide to go do that, can you speak to me a little bit about the markets that you do serve beyond the banking side? So, like, could I expect to see you all in a commercial building if I'm an office? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you indicated, we had talked a bit on the financial and the residential. On the commercial side, we do have door applications that we do engage in, skiff doors, primarily to support the security, either of the access of locations or information or product within certain elements or areas of the building. So when we look at our applications are not just singling out to kind of a vault type of a situation, it could also limit access to secure areas. And we have door systems paired with our locks that more or less control or provide that level of controlled access to those particular facilities. We serve the government applications primarily in that space, but certainly it can port over to any type of commercial application, whether it's in healthcare, transportation, energy, anything that may require a higher degree or level of security.
Okay, so understood. So at the high security level. So talk to me a little about. So you went through the brand introduction that you've done now, and one of the areas that we talk a lot about is very technically driven industry, but the need to be able to do marketing and storytelling is going to become even more important as things go mainstream,
Mhm.
and you have external threats, if you would, coming into the industry. Where before we really had to just worry about the channel in a lot of ways, and the people that really understood who we were already. But now, I'm guessing you all have seen something that has made you decide to invest in it. So, if you talk a little bit about what's behind that investment that you're making, and what the goal is, if you would, of the reintroduction of the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple things here, I guess, to kind of build up to this a little bit before I talk about the specific innovations or products we're looking at. What we're seeing is that solutions generally within the industry, regardless of industry, frankly, are, although they do have some regional differences or influences, we must consider the global demand overall for these respective markets. So you need to have platform solutions that are scalable, are addressable for the regional differences, but really provide for the overall global needs of the high security lock business. So part of what we are looking for, whether it's in the brand refresh or frankly how it translates to a product solution, is allowing for a platform type expansion to our overall functional growth and capabilities of our products for the respective needs of the business. Um, and this really is I think, to answer your question, Lee, this is not just consideration for corporate institutions. This is really for the individual consumer as well. Everybody's becoming much more aware, unfortunately, frankly, of the security risks, whether it's for not just cash or individual uh, types of valuable product within a safe, but just the overall security of information, access to information, access to their personal property. This is a growing consideration for everybody. And we want to make sure as Sargent Greenleaf that we provide solutions not just for the corporate institutions, but for the individuals, which is why it's important that our brand and our name, despite the long history we've had, becomes more of a household name as well.
Yeah, I love what you said there around a couple of things. So the idea of a platform, which I believe is going to continue to evolve, and so the fact that you're using the language, it tells me sort of where at least the vision of what's going on there. The other one being, yeah, that the redefinition of safety, where historically it's been, keeping bad people out for us physically. Now it's also the logical side of what that means, and COVID has even impacted a bit of that now, because now we have a health story along with that as well. So the redefinition. So I'm glad to hear that you all are seeing that, and not resting on sort of the laurels of sort of what have you done before to define what you're doing moving forward, but actually leveraging it to be able to tell a really interesting story. It's funny because a lot of the older companies in our industry, it's almost becomes apologetic. It's like, yeah, we've been around for a long time. It's like, no, it's exciting that you've been around a long time. And there's a lot of new companies that wish they'd have that opportunity to tell the rich stories that you do and all the touch points that you have over the years. So I'm thrilled to hear that you're actually, you know, you're allowing a feature be a feature, not turn into a bug for you, and that's exciting to do.
Well, I think the point to that is we're not looking with our brand, our image to reinvent who we are, but we do want to reinvigorate the company. So it's really kind of dusting off the image, the brand, and showing that we'll be step in step with the technology developments of the industry and the needs of the market to be alongside that, if not in front of it, as we move forward.
Yeah, I'm going to totally use that reinvent or reinvigorate, and that's a great way to put it. So I'll leave you with one last question, and then I appreciate you spending the time with us. I don't want to take up too much of it, but I did bring up COVID. If you don't mind, could you speak to a little bit about sort of the impacts that it's had on your end, and then as a leader within the industry, you know, what do you see as some of the habit changes, if you would, that have changed, that have impacted now because of it, that you think will stick around, or any thoughts that you might have around the impacts that it's had on the overall business looking forward? Not, I understand what's happened behind us, but sort of like how you envision, or at least digesting what you think is going to happen moving forward.
Sure. You know, one of the things about COVID, I think overall, is that it further highlighted a direction that, frankly, technology and industry has already been going in, but it needed to accelerate. I'll give you an example of that. So, you know, I mentioned the platform product. We're working on what will be the iSeries touchscreen keypad type product that will be coming out here in 2021. And the idea of this platform product and what it provides is it gives us the ability to really focus the technology towards more of a remote access, including real-time type monitoring capability, as well as interconnectivity for control and audit purposes that really allows for much more remote access, monitoring capabilities as businesses and people are realizing that the interaction, the face-to-face interactions, the direct contact interactions are all at jeopardy due to this pandemic and possibly any future pandemics or situations that we may have impacting our society. So this entire network type of an approach to the products and product solutions really allows us to help provide for the direction the market really has to take and really address concerns of that high degree of social engagement, social interaction moving forward. And it's, like I said, it's timely. It's a direction the technology has been moving in, but we've had to accelerate that as a result of the pandemic and what our solution is to support the institutions they're dealing with, as well as the individuals they're dealing with the results of the pandemic and their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I could imagine there's a lot of product roadmaps that were thrown up in the air come like April time, of things that may have been longer out that got pulled up to be able to do this. So it's yeah, it's very rare that we get to live through moments like this to really see a sort of a fabric redefinition of an industry and basically society as a whole. So it's as terrible as it is, I guess maybe hopefully some positive comes out of it, with the fact that some of these areas that I believe were going to happen anyways got accelerated and prioritized. So, well, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I really enjoyed the conversation. If somebody wanted to find out more information about you and the company, where's the best place to go?
Well, I'm going to put a plug in for our very good marketing team. Our website is always advancing, so please seek out our website, and you'll find very good contact information in there, not just for the headquarters, but for us globally. And of course, we have a lot of good channel partnerships as well as direct relationships with the locksmith community. So please feel free to reach out. Sergeant Greenleaf is there to help and support in any way we can, and really listen to and answer our consumers.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate the opportunity. I know you're busy, so thanks for taking the time to share your story, your background, and the vision of where things are going. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you, Lee.